Hello, my name is Jacob Monk and welcome to a short video about the three enemies of Europe. Three enemies of Europe. I want to talk about the three institutions that want to ruin Europe, destroy Europe, make Europe be split apart up in hundreds of small states being in fight against each other. And that is making Europe a poor and weak part of the world that will be 100% dependent of the big powers, first of all of USA. Who are the big enemies of Europe? Well, first of all, we have Islam. In Europe, we have fought against Islam up until the 15th century and even later. The last fight we had was against the Ottoman Empire when they tried to conquer Vienna. It was in the late 16th century. We can say thank you to the Poles that Vienna was not conquered and Europe was not conquered. If the Poles had not defended Europe, then Europe would be a part of the Ottoman Empire today, and we would be an Islamic part of the world. I'm happy we are not. Our enemy number two is the Russian Church. The Russian so-called Orthodox Church, ruled by Kirill, the self-proclaimed Pope in Rome. He's called Kirill. And since the Seventh Council, the Seventh Church Council in the 8th century, that is around 1300 years ago, the Russian Church has not been a part of the Catholic Church. They have always tried to be separated, and they have gone against Roman Catholic Christianity, against Europe on numerous occasions. That's why some crusaders tried to conquer Constantinople in the 12th century. And actually they succeeded, but they were invited by a Byzantine emperor. And unfortunately he was killed, so the Russian Empire reconquered Constantinople. And later on, this very, very weak Russian-dominated empire with a main city in Constantinople, it was conquered by the Ottoman Empire, and today it is called Turkey and Istanbul. We can thank the Russian Church that Europe is so weak as it is today. It would be wonderful if Russia and Europe could work together, but we cannot because the Russian Church is very much against. They don't want to work together with the Christian churches in Europe. They are 100% against the Pope. The Pope has not one single time in history been in Russia. Remember that. The Pope has been in many Protestant, Catholic and Orthodox states all around the world, but never in Russia, never in Russian Orthodox Russia. And I'm quite sure that the Russian Church would be happy if the Christian Church in Europe just disappeared and the Russian could dominate and conquer Western Europe. I'm happy they have not been able to do that. I'm not for the Donald Trump policy. I'm not for the Hitler policy, the Napoleon policy of conquering Russia. No, Russia should be an independent state. But the Russian religion is very much against the Christian religion in Europe. And therefore we can thank Vladimir Putin, who has been 3 times in the recent years, 3 times he has been visiting the Pope in Rome. Why? I suppose he's not trying to change his own religion to be a Roman Catholic. No, I hope he's trying to prepare a visit from the Pope in Russia. But I'm not sure what is the purpose of his travels to the Pope in Rome. But there must be a reason. And we certainly need some kind of communication between East and West, because there is a Cold War going on. And at the moment, the NATO countries are investing in a lot of dangerous weapons. USA has 10 times as much weapons as Russia. They use 10 times as much money for so-called defense as Russia. USA has 800 military bases all around the world. Russia, they have 1 or 2 outside Russia. So the big aggressor, the big promoter of militarism is USA. So USA is the main responsible state for the militaristic conflict we have in the world today. And I certainly hope that the upgoing tendency of the Chinese economy and the Chinese military will have the result that the coming leader of the world is not anymore USA, but China. Because China is not an imperialistic state like USA. The third enemy of Europe is USA, but not USA as a whole, because there are many decent and morally very good Americans. No, it's the Calvinist USA. You know, the first immigrants to USA, they came with the boat called Mayflower. It was in the 15th century. Mayflower, it came from Scotland. They fled from Europe because they wanted to start a state based on equality and freedom. And they were Calvinist followers of the Calvinist religion coming from France. Calvin, he had the idea that Luther was right. God is not mixing into our affairs here in this world. This world is run by Satan. We don't have any kind of free will to do anything good. That is not possible. This was the Calvinist standpoint. And still today, this is the basic of the USA foreign policy. Because nothing is right, nothing is wrong. USA, they say we have exceptionalism. We can do exactly as we want. We don't have to follow any kind of moral laws. We don't have to follow the rules of United Nations, the rules of the Human Rights Commission. We don't even have to follow agreement that our own president has signed. So we don't have to follow anything but our own will. And what we are doing is very evil. But what was in the world before we came here, it was evil too. So we are only substituting evil with evil. And that means we are doing nothing really bad. We have the right to do as we want because we are the strongest power. This is the philosophical idea behind American exceptionalism. And therefore USA tried to force Europe to buy everything from USA. We know energy and all kind of electronic and other goods, we can buy them in China or in USA. In USA they are poor quality, high prices. In China it's low prices, high quality. In Russia we can buy energy for half the price that we can buy energy in USA. But USA want to force us to buy USA energy that can be transported across the Atlantic Ocean in big ships. It's very costly and will cost twice as much money as energy coming from Russia. And the energy coming from Russia, it is natural gas. There is no pollution at all coming from natural gas. But the rulers of Europe, the American-controlled rulers of Europe and of my own country, Denmark, they don't care what is economical, rational, what will save Europe from pollution, what will save Europe from another war. They only care to please their employer, to please the American Calvinist religion and the American Calvinist imperialist rulers trying to control the whole world for their own benefit only. Well, this was what I wanted to tell. Europe has three enemies: Islam, Russian Orthodoxy, US Calvinism. These are the three enemies of Europe. And if we don't accept that these are our three enemies, Europe is going to have a very, very dark and bad future. So I hope that European leaders will be as wise as the current leaders in Germany and France, because Angela Merkel and François Macron, they are wise leaders. They want Europe to be a part of the world. They make negotiations with China to import Chinese goods. They don't want to import USA goods when these USA goods are more expensive and poor quality. On the other side, USA wants to make trade sanctions against, not only against Russia and China, but also against Europe. And we should say to USA, well, keep your goods for yourself. Make all the sanctions you want against us, because we don't want to trade with you at all anymore. I hope there will be uprisings here in Europe against the American-controlled political leaders, because our main enemy today is USA, but USA has unfortunately quite a few agents here in Europe, and many of these agents, they are prime ministers and political leaders in the European countries. I'm talking about Denmark, I'm talking about Poland, and talking about other European countries controlled by USA. Change your way of understanding politics, or accept that your future will be very dark. Thank you.